Welcome back to another 2.5 stars. I'm joined by
Jason
and Kelly, or not Kelly,
Erik. You know that you're half dwarf, right?
I think
What if I'm
Erik,
the Brad Pitt of dwarf kind?
Kelly, his wife, fucked it a lot.
What's up, guys? It's Steve. I had hair when I was younger.
Like, watch this, guys. I'm gonna totally make him do it. Oh!
What's up, guys? It's Steve with Hap Gaming, and welcome back to another 2.5 stars. I am joined by
Erik.
Kelly.
And this week we watched Captain America: The First Avenger, directed by Joe Johnston, written by Christopher Marcus and Stephen McFeely, starring Chris Evans, Hugo Weaving, and Samuel L. Jackson. IMDb synopsis: Steve Rogers, a rejected military soldier, transforms into Captain America after taking a dose of super soldier serum, but being Captain America comes at a price as he attempts to take down a warmonger and terrorist organization. What do you guys think?
I like this movie a lot.
Yeah, it's different from your normal, like, I don't know, other comic book characters.
Yeah.
You know, it's kind of interesting to see this little tiny, inky, normal dude. Dogs don't growl. Go away. Go away. Anyways, who is definitely like a tough person inside, like how he just like jumps on the grenade, even though it's totally fake. He's like 100% in it. And, you know, like he is already a superhero in that basically instinct.
Yeah, it very much shows his character, kind of, you know.
Yeah.
Where all the other people there were just run. I mean, the normal reaction would be to fucking run away. So, I mean,
Yeah.
I'm not sure how much that. I mean, I guess it would stop some shrapnel, but I'm not sure how much that little 100-pound dude is gonna do to, you know, protect everybody else if they're too close. So they're gonna get hit by bone shrapnel.
Yeah. I don't know. My brother says that grenades are not as exciting as they are on the TV. So,
Yeah.
you know, when you actually use them. So when he was doing his Marine training, one of the kids got, you know, because they hand you a grenade and then you throw it as part of your training. One of the kids fumbled the grenade. So the instructor just bent down, looked at him harshly, looked at the guy, and then threw it over the way. And Robert was like, "Oh, that's pretty cool," because I guess you have like a little bit of time.
Yeah.
Anyways, it's still pretty scary. You could just imagine. So I always imagine what I would do in that scenario is I just grab somebody next to me and just throw them on the grenade and then run away and be like, "He saved everybody. He's a hero."
God damn it.
That's why I'd always be standing next to somebody Ricky or Jason size, because I could definitely just throw them on there, just grab them by the scruff of the neck and, okay, you saved everyone's life, guys. I'm kidding. I wouldn't do that. My reflexes are so slow, the grenade would go off and I'd be like, "What the hell was that? My leg!"
Jeez.
Oh, man. Yeah, I remember first watching this movie and not really liking it too much. And I rewatched it. Yeah, I don't know. It just didn't. Captain America's not like one of my favorite superheroes. And, you know, it's just, I don't know, just is kind of a boring character. Not that this movie, I mean, this is a fun movie to watch. It's just, I don't know. Compared to other Marvel movies, it just didn't, wasn't all that great to me. And then I rewatched, but that was like whenever the fuck this movie came out. What was that? You know, 2011. So I don't know. I had time to mature, I guess. I don't know. I watched it recently again, and I'm like, oh, this is a fucking good movie. Especially when you pair it with Winter Soldier, which is fucking excellent. Like,
yeah, that's a real good movie.
It's one of the best Marvel movies, I think. But just like, I don't know, like Captain America is, I don't know, Steve Rogers, he just like is too good like I don't know, like I don't feel like he fits in with a lot of other stuff. Like I don't know, it's just I feel like somebody with that kind of power, people with that kind of power, feel to me would be more like in the show The Boys, stuff like that, would just be kind of dickheads, and like Cap is just like super like altruistic and just good. Like there's no bad in the dude, so and it just I don't know, it feels boring. But especially after reading some of the comics and stuff, or a little bit more of the newer stuff with him, and kind of just his values and stuff. I don't know. I just kind of turned me around on the movies and things like that. So especially like the Civil War shit and stuff like that. So
yeah, I've liked Captain America since I was a kid. It was one of the few comics I did get. It was a Captain America comic, and he was I don't know doing sweet bench presses and whatever. And he's kind of like Marvel's Batman in the sense that he's essentially a regular guy. Now, in the MCU, he's definitely quite a bit more than a regular person.
Oh yeah, he's very. He is in the comic books, at least originally, he was not super powered. He was just I think they say he's just peak human physical. Where like if nothing else was in the way, this is what a human is capable of doing. Faster reflexes, faster cognitive abilities. Stronger, but he was only able to lift like 800 pounds or something like that, I think is what some of the comics were doing. And he's definitely lifting up into the tons in the MCU. So he's fucking holding helicopters in place and kicking fucking trucks into people. So
that's a lot.
Yeah,
I mean, trucks weigh a lot, and then to skid the truck, like where you kick it hard enough to make it skid.
Yeah.
I've watched people run into cars with another car and it doesn't skid it.
Busting latches off of tanks, I assume, would probably be strong enough to withstand an explosion. So, I mean, the shield.
Oh yeah, well
definitely.
that's just that movie magic, where someone takes a shovel and they break a lock that would be hard to break with a hammer and a pick. It's like, they definitely busted that with a shovel. I mean, movies make locks look like you look at them and go, why the hell would anybody ever buy a lock?
Yeah.
I mean, it's like takes one extra second. All you have to have is a shovel.
Yeah.
But I mean, I liked him a lot as a guy as a kid because he kind of would like take care of stuff and would figure stuff out. And he was like the brains behind the Avengers. And I always liked the Avengers a lot. I had a couple of Avengers comics. And that was in like they had like a little period where Thor wasn't really part of the group.
Yeah.
So anyway, so I liked it a lot. I thought he was a pretty cool character.
I don't know if I'd put him as like brains behind the Avengers. I mean, I think Tony Stark and Hank Pym and stuff like that would be brains. I think he's more like the soul behind the Avengers, like the what the Avengers should be standing for kind of thing. He's obviously the leader because everybody else.
That's what I mean. Is like he comes up with the plan, like of action right at the time, whereas the other guys come up with like, this is our goal. Like Tony Stark's like, well, let's do this and that. And the movies change it quite a bit. I don't, I haven't.
I think the movies make Tony more of a leader than Cap in the things, just because I think Robert Downey Jr. kind of takes that on a lot better than Chris Evans does. But I mean, even later on, just in general, and when you watch those Avenger movies, especially once they kind of team up, they still follow Cap's lead. Like they do what he says because they trust him more than they trust Tony. They trust him more than they trust the others in the thing. So because they know Cap isn't going to try to, not that Tony's going to screw him over, but he's definitely thinking about himself more than what Cap would be. So
well, yeah, I mean the movies, he's a completely different character than the comics.
Yeah.
Iron Man in the comics, for most of the history that I've ever seen, he's a drunken asshole.
Well, I think
he's basically like a genius Terrence Howard.
I think what they did was they threw that in Cap in Iron Man 2, and then just kind of finish that off for his kind of character arc kind of thing, like because I mean he has definitely changed in the comic books and stuff like that and more recent stuff. I mean he's not alive in the more recent comic book stuff either. He's like a fucking AI, but even before he disappears that way, he's cleaned it up and stuff like that. Like I'm gonna say he's actually Carol Danvers, Captain Marvel's AA sponsor at some point too, because he's just he's already gone through all that shit. So
yeah, I mean, yeah, he's. I mean, I don't think none of the movies do the justice of what a pain in the ass he is.
Yeah,
and he just so like at his worst in the movies, I still think he's like almost at his best in the comics. Because the stuff that I read in the comics, he was just like grade A jackass. So, I mean, it was just like, how does a person say this stuff with a straight face?
Yeah.
Whereas like in the movies, he's a little bit cocky, but for the most, he's a good dude. Like he's talking to the service guys in Iron Man 1 and he's being friendly and he's like, yeah, let's take selfies. He's talking to him. Whereas in the comics, he'd be shit-faced and he'd probably be having shit to say to them about why am I not there yet? I mean, he's an asshole. And that is what it is. It's just, it's important to to remember that the comics, they really humanized him. Whereas Captain America, I feel like they made him a little bit more I don't know, kind. I don't know. I maybe I'm just getting at the wrong idea. I thought he was a little bit more serious of a guy because one of the first comics I seen of him was in it was like a early 1940s, like just beat up comic that my uncle had or from my grandpa or somebody. Anyways, and it was showing him shooting people.
Yeah, I mean, he does that in this, because he's at war, but he definitely doesn't shoot anybody later on. Like he avoids guns at all costs, it seems, like, Batman style in the later movies. Like when he gets into the present, he definitely just uses his shield and his strength to take people out instead of shooting anybody. Like even when he goes in Winter Soldier, he lands on that fucking ship, he just takes the guns and tosses them off the edge.
Yeah. Well, I mean, one of the things that's interesting about this guy versus like the boys is there are people who can handle power okay.
Yeah.
Like they can do it. There are people that can handle that stuff. I don't know how many of them there are. I find the whole premise that like a wimp guy is gonna not end up being a bully when he gets power to be a little, I don't know, a little unrealistic.
Like after being picked on and everything.
Oh yeah, I mean, that stuff sticks with you. That's not an easy thing to, to just overcome.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think that's why he was chosen though. Like that's his whole thing is he's overcome all of that stuff instead of, because Erskine asks him, what, you want to go over and kill a bunch of Nazis, all this stuff. And he's like, he just says, no, he doesn't like bullies, So it was, I think that kind of shows where it's not the matter of killing. Also, he wants to go do something. He doesn't want to sit back. He feels like he's kind of not doing anything if he was to be left at home and working in a factory or something like that. He doesn't feel like he'd be contributing all that he could be contributing. So,
well, at least he did have because sometimes not trauma, but bad things happen to you. I don't know what the hell you'd call that.
It's trauma.
Can make you a stronger person. So him having to deal with his mom and
hardships,
dad,
is that what you're looking for?
Yeah, something like that. His mom, dying and all that probably helped him be a lot better of a person.
Yeah.
Because like that kind of stuff can definitely give you some strength where you figure out how to deal with it. You know? Whereas you get I don't know. I mean, we have certain members of our group that if you gave them superpowers, I don't really know how good that would be for everybody.
It would end up in the boys situation.
Yeah, I mean, you know,
Super villain.
yeah, or I don't know about exactly super villain, but there'd definitely be some very selective saving, you know. And I mean, you could imagine. Well, I mean, let's like we could use Ricky as an example. Like Ricky, I feel like would almost be like Hancock,
Just
where except
not,
for being drunk, he'd just be high as fuck
yeah. And
and
he
be
would
like, I
be,
don't give a shit.
I feel like he'd be very aloof with everything. He wouldn't.
Oh yeah,
He
he
would
wouldn't turn
have the
into a
power
super
and wouldn't
villain.
do anything.
Yeah, although he might fuck up government buildings who are trying to fuck him up. Like for instance, if the government decided that they're going to study him, we both can definitely imagine Ricky being like, I think I'm going to take care of your guys' building for you.
He'd get the big eyes, and then it turns out Big Eyes turns on the lasers, and he just laser him.
Yeah, that would be really funny. He's lasering. Just they're just like, why are his eyes? What does he seem like? He's so upset. And then, oh, my ass is so hot.
I mean, his eyes
Oh
would
no,
already
is he
be red 'cause
recharging?
Oh, he would 100% be saving hot girls though. I feel like he'd just
Out
be
of their
on.
clothes.
I feel like Ricky'd just be flying over the top of porn sets saving actresses.
I
He'd
feel
just
like
fly over.
he would only be saving them if it was within his general, like, if he had super hearing or whatever, be only within his range of like, I can hear this thing, because he's not going to go out of his way. He's not going to go do something extra to go do something like that. So
I mean, if he thought he was going to get action,
I don't
like,
know,
he
man.
definitely would. That's
He
true.
won't even take a
That's
shower
totally
sometimes.
true.
So
He's like, is that a girl screaming? No. Well, sucks for that guy.
yeah. Oh man.
So yeah, I mean, if it was me and I had like, let's say Superman's powers, I don't know how much saving I would do, but I would definitely be making a crap load of money. Because why not? I would like save CEOs and stuff for a lot of money.
Yeah, you pull the
then-
Luke Cage stuff with the Heroes for Hire kind of stuff.
Well, most of my time making money would be I'd just be working out in the woods, and then I could do everything without any machinery. So I mean, I could literally just like carry like 100 loads of logs into a what do you call it, a mill, and be like, pay me. What they'll be like, we don't really have any operating costs, and I'll be like, I don't give a crap. This isn't a communism. Pay me my money. I want the same as everybody else. And then they'd be like, I don't know. I'd be like, do you really want to have your car get smashed every day? You can't prove it's me doing it. All right, fine.
Put it in a tree.
Yeah. But bam, I'll be making a crap load of money. And then I'd tell the government, I'm only going to do anything to help any of you out if I don't have to pay taxes anymore. And all of my buddies, no more taxes. That's it.
You also need to put something where you're not liable for any collateral damage. I think that's the biggest thing. Like,
yeah, see, that's
what
why
you
you
never
wouldn't have
see-
to pay any taxes, because you'd keep me out of trouble.
well, what you never see in any like comic book movies or anything like that, which is it's boring as fuck. But I've read a lot of fucking books and things, and that's one of the things is all the heroes have to go through some kind of school to learn how to control their powers and stuff like that. Because if they don't, then insurance won't cover them. So then they're liable for anything that happens when they use their powers. So it's just kind of like if you know how to use your powers, if you've been taught, then you can get insurance, some kind of liability thing, or the school or whatever, the government will cover it, and then you don't have to worry about collateral damage and stuff. Where,
I mean,
basically Tony is just covering anything that happens because he's that fucking rich with Stark Industries and stuff like that. And then he also owns fucking damage control. So he's making money off of the damage he causes already. So,
wow.
With government, that's kind of what the premise of Spider-Man Homecoming is.
Yeah.
Because he owns damage control, so he's got the government contract to clean up a mess he made. Granted, he was saving the fucking world or whatever, but still, feels like a little conflict of interest there.
It sounds like the first episode of Hell on Wheels I seen, where the guy's like, he's getting money from other people to build the railroad, and then the government's paying him to build it.
Yeah.
And it's like, God, you're a real piece of crap, bro. And then, I mean, that's the worst part. If that's true that the government paid to build the railroad, how the hell do they own the railroad?
Yeah.
That doesn't make any sense.
I don't
Like
know.
it's like communism with more steps or something, except without any of the benefit of owning, the state owning anything.
I love
It
that
costs
show,
like
dude.
a bazillion dollars to transport anything by train.
Yeah. That show's
And
awesome.
not because it costs money, it doesn't cost it like any more, like it costs way less, or it should, to train it than to truck it. But that's
You
not
think
how it
so?
works out.
Because you get a hell of a lot more goods in a train than you can a truck, kind of thing. So
Yeah. It's about the same loading and unloading, way less fuel, way less permits, all that, way less people.
yeah,
Because every train car can hold 2 truckloads of stuff on it.
yeah.
So when you see those trains that have like 100 cars, that's 200 truckloads, and generally there's like 2 or 3 people on the train.
And ideally, there shouldn't be delays, even though there are, because there isn't
Yeah.
traffic and stuff like that to sit through. But shit happens, breakdowns happen. I guess I don't know.
I have no idea.
Because I've rode on a couple of trains, and for some reason there's still delays. Who knows?
Yeah. Well, they just need to hire some of the people who run the Japanese trains to do it, and they'd be like, they'd get that stuff squared away pretty quickly. I thought the Red Skull was always like a great villain.
He's a good villain, yeah. I think
because he's like pure evil. He's also pretty crafty. He's not it's not like the Scarecrow versus Batman, where the Scarecrow or Joker, where they just get the shit kicked out of them.
yeah.
It's kind of like too evenly.
Well, yeah, he's very
people.
much the it's the yin and yang kind of thing, where he's the dark side fucking Captain America kind of thing, because he's the same thing. He's got the super soldier serum and all that stuff. Granted, it was an earlier version where it fucked him up. I imagined probably the Vita rays and stuff like that didn't get involved in that earlier version or something like that. So,
well, in the movie, they kind of make it out like if you're really bad inside, it's going to show outside.
yeah. But I think they also,
what it's like in the comics.
I think they also mentioned that it was an earlier version, so it didn't take the same way.
Maybe.
Like, it's a more refined version that they give to Cap than they do to the Red Skull. So, but yeah, like, it's obviously amplifying the shittiness in the dude anyway. So, and he's so fucking, like, in the comic books especially, like Red Skull, I don't know, a lot of stuff like puts like Hydra and stuff like that as Nazis and things like that. But Hydra's a completely different thing. They just got involved with the Nazis because it was easier to work with those guys to further their goal of world domination kind of thing. Like the Red Skull's idea was to take over what Hitler had done when it all came, that's basically the idea in the end of this thing. He was going to bomb everywhere with those fucking Tesseract bombs. So
yeah.
He wasn't just going to hit the Allies. He was hitting every place. So,
yeah, it's funny. I was looking at comics during an era where the Punisher's main combatant was Hydra.
Yeah.
So he would just like parachute in somewhere and then just like waste a bunch of Hydra people. And they were all in their green outfits. And I was like, who the hell is Hydra? And I was like, I don't know, 12 or 13 years old. I'm like, what the hell is this? This is weird.
Yeah.
I thought these guys were Nazis. Where does anybody round one of them up anymore?
Yeah.
It's like there's not that many of those donut heads running around.
So
obviously good.
One of the cool things with the Punisher, when the Punisher comes across Captain America at some point, like that dude, it's just like Deadpool. Deadpool does the same thing. If they come across Captain America, they will do anything that fucker says. So when the whole Secret War, I think, event where Captain America is actually Captain Hydra and all this stuff, and there's all kinds of fucked up stuff, he basically turns them into Hydra agents and stuff, and has them as like his special hit squad of dudes who just go out and fucking take people out that are rabble-rousing and causing issues. So, but imagine having like, because fucking the Punisher will, it gives like, he will not, or what would that word be? It's like full allegiance to whatever Captain America tells him to do, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And it's pretty similar to with Deadpool. Like I don't know. It's kind of weird because he'll do whatever the fuck Cap says. He goes and kills Coulson at some point, and like Coulson and him are buddies. So
when he's Captain Hydra.
Well, when Captain Hydra tells Deadpool to go kill.
Now, is that
Coulson.
the same guy, or is it like a clone, mind control, or is it just Captain America and they just wanted to?
So basically, there's these things called cosmic cubes in the comic books that can change reality. It's similar to like the Reality Stones and stuff in for the like Infinity Gauntlet stuff. And
or like the Scarlet Witch.
Yeah. And basically, some of the earlier stuff that I remember was the Red Skull trying to get a hold of one of those cosmic cubes. And there's been a couple of instances where like Doctor Doom has gotten them and things, but in this one, Red Skull gets it. Basically, wants Cap to become Captain Hydra. He wants to join Hydra. So like they basically change reality so that at a young age, Steve Rogers is taken in by this lady. It's like I think she's just called Lady Hydra. But obviously she has another name that she goes by when they're talking and stuff like that. So he's like training with God damn it, I can't remember his fucking name. Fucking bad guy in Civil War. The guy with the weird purple beanie. Zemo or something. Yeah, Zemo. So basically, like, Zemo is one of the big bads for Cap also, but they become best friends in this kind of alternate reality thing. Well, it's not really alternate reality. It's just a changed reality. Like it's the normal reality. It's just it's been completely manipulated. I don't know.
Like if somebody Mandela affected reality, where it's like, wow. So it's like they went back in time, basically. Is like the
basically it goes back in time and it just changes some stuff back there. And it turns out that even as Captain America, Red Skull can't keep control over him. So, like, Cap is leading this takeover of the United States and the rest of the world, while Red Skull's trying to kind of get control because he thought he was going to have the power. Like, he thought he was going to have Cap's allegiance, but they still are kind of at odds with each other, and he can't get it fixed. And then there's this whole, like, side story where you see some shit inside of... I don't know, it's like a warring kind of thing inside of Cap where there's like a Red Skull dude in there, and then there's like a Captain America kind of dude with like full-on beard and stuff, and there's just some weird shit going on there. And then eventually Captain America and Captain Hydra kind of fight. Like they separate with help from one of the cosmic cubes, and basically they have to like put it together. So like you've got all kinds of other characters trying to gather these pieces of cosmic cubes together, because after it happens it shatters, and so there's just bits and pieces everywhere. So that's like Winter Soldier is trying to get some with his group, Tony is trying to get some, and fucking Falcon, who is still has the Captain America suit, is just kind of trying to stay out of it. So he's like a pilot for some guys, and then you've got like Hank Pym, who has merged with Ultron at some point, and it like has a whole area to himself. That's with a bunch of Ultron robots. So he's like part Pym, part Ultron and stuff. So it's just kind of a fucked up world. And so eventually, Cap becomes Captain America again, and everything kind of gets undone. But it's just a real fucked up whole thing. The Shield gets a hold of one of the cosmic cubes at some point and turns all the villains into just other people, and then they get in trouble for basically taking away people's human rights, and that causes another civil war. It's, I don't know. Shield becomes not great for a while, but I think they're not great in a lot of stuff. Like we see Agents of Shield, they're pretty awesome, but that's like a one small team where the rest of Shield really isn't that great, kind of overbearing and stuff.
So kind of like the FBI or the CIA.
Yeah.
Where they're like, hey, what happens when you give LSD to somebody? Let's find some unsuspecting civilian and let's do it.
Yeah. And it's like after the whole thing with like the helicarriers everywhere, and stuff like that. And after the Hydra infiltration and stuff. So
That's nuts.
yeah,
Well, it's cool like that Marvel does that because like DC, that's one of their problems is they don't mix that stuff up enough. You know, like
yeah,
a lot of their stuff is pretty static. You
yeah,
know, like I've always wanted to see, where like I don't know, somebody be like Superman is basically Captain America with way more powers.
yeah. He's got the same kind of
I mean,
ideals of like just way too good for somebody like that. You know, you
well,
would
some
think
of
they
that
would have a
I don't
little.
know. I don't see Captain America. Okay, so have you ever seen the Dark Knight Returns comic or movie where Batman's old
Yes, the
and he
animated
fights?
movie, right?
Yeah, yeah, and so in that thing, Superman's taking orders from the president, and
Uh
he's
huh.
like, "Yeah, go kill him." And Superman's like, "Okay." The thing is, Captain America wouldn't do that
No, and
to
he's
somebody that it'd
refused.
be like,
Well,
yeah,
that was the whole point of like Civil War One with in the comic books. It was the government was trying to overreach with the registration of superpowered people and stuff like that, and saying, oh, we're
yeah,
not going to give out information or anything like that. Like they don't get hacked constantly by techno mutants and shit like that.
everybody,
Yeah. So like
third graders that
yeah,
can run a keyboard.
and basically Tony was on the side of yeah, we need to register all these people, and Cap was like, fuck that, we're not going to do that. It doesn't matter, if this is a fucking, the United States is telling me this is what has to be done. I've got, he's kind of like, I've got a mind of my own kind of thing. I'm not going to do this because it's not right. He's got a moral
Yeah.
compass that, or as Jason would call it, a compass that is unwavering kind of thing. He knows what he believes in, and not necessarily that could be a bad thing too. If for whatever reason, he just seems to be like in the right most of the time, at least when he's not being manipulated by somebody else. So, um,
Yeah.
where
Well, that stuff
we know that
is,
Superman is not smart enough to think for himself most of the time. So,
well, that's kind of an issue with whoever writes Superman is they're okay with that stuff.
yeah,
Like, I mean, the reality is that if you're Superman, how long would it take before you're just like, I'm just gonna kill this guy? He's so much of a pain in the ass. And the worst part about that is, I think the hard part isn't, killing somebody or not, because like killing the Joker is the right move.
yeah,
Like when the guy has a second go of murdering tens of civilians, it's like, okay, it's time to, this guy's just not going to stop. Right. So Superman, right, his thing is like, who the hell's even going to stand up to him because he's the most powerful guy there,
Batman's
pretty
the
much
only one that'll
nonstop.
stand up to him. It just depends
Yeah.
on whether or not he can stand up to him.
Well,
So,
I mean, here's the thing: like, Batman's pretty tough,
oh, I guess
but if
Lex
Superman,
Luthor does too.
Lex Luthor does all the time.
Yeah,
If Superman was like, you know what, I'm not going to play by the rule. Like, let's just say, somebody did that cosmic cube thing to Superman,
uh huh,
and they just changed his DNA just a tiny little bit to where he's like, fuck, they could switch him with Zod's kid, right?
yeah,
So it's General Zod's son that comes down. Well, General Zod's son would be like, oh, these guys are a pain in for instance, like you see one of those things where he's a little kid and he's getting bullied and he doesn't do anything. Zod's kid would just be like, I'm ripping this guy's arm off. I'm gonna beat the other ones to death with the arm. Then the police would show up and he'd be like, oh, you guys are gonna shoot at me? I'm gonna fly through all of you.
yeah,
You know? I think that a guy like him would still be loyal to his to family because that's how Zod is. He doesn't just murder his buddies, or
yeah,
at least that's how a lot of those type of people are. They won't just murder their buddies, but any unwanted aggression, they're gonna be like, no, that's not gonna cut it, like at all. So the thing is, like, where would it quit with that guy? Where he'd just be like murking everybody. Whereas you got like like Superman, he just won't murder anybody, even though he murders people all the time by not killing them, by not
yeah,
killing like
yeah.
Lex
He kills
Luthor.
defenseless people
Yeah,
by not taking out a threat that he should have taken out many times
I
already.
mean, here's the thing: he's actually powerful enough, okay, to move a planet.
Yeah,
So if he pushed Venus, if he got it spinning correctly, pushed it into like opposite our orbit, so it's just on the other side of the sun, which would God knows what that would do, but he could fix it. And then God had somebody make him a giant thing so he could just get a bunch of hydrogen and stuff from Jupiter and go over there. He could make it livable, and then he could just make a prison there and then fly all those turds there and be like, yeah, there's no spaceships coming in and out of here, okay, at all. So you can escape the prison. If I catch you outside, I'm gonna kill you. And if you stay inside, then I'll make sure you're fed and whatnot. And I mean, you'd want to talk about an inescapable, like, wow, that really sucks, where you're just stuck there. And then he could just fly down, like Batman thinks he's pretty tough or whatever. But if in the middle of the night Superman has a bad dream where Batman's banging his wife and Superman's just like, I'm taking him out, Batman would be dead.
Yeah.
The same with Luthor. He'd just be dead. Like, there's nothing that he can do to stop him. Unless he sleeps inside some kind of a
kryptonite suit.
Yeah, kryptonite suit. Well, I mean, that was one of the things about old Luthor is he always had like a kryptonite ring on.
Isn't that stuff poisonous to humans also? Just over a longer period?
It ended up giving him cancer, so he kept cloning himself, and he just kept getting cancer and dying over and over again. Just because he was fucking with Superman all the time.
Yeah.
And here's this guy who's a super genius, and he can't fit, like, of course it's a comic book, but I feel like that would be a punishment in some version of hell, where to get out of hell you have to kill Superman, but you're Lex Luthor. And the writers are never going to let you kill Superman.
Yeah.
So you're just like, you're going to try, but it's never going to work. So I don't know. Captain America, on the other hand, he like has to deal with, the reality of getting shot, getting his head caved in, dealing with stuff like the Hulk.
Yeah.
I don't know if in the comics he's ever picked up Thor's hammer or not, but like he's it's nice to see that, like, that would be a cool thing, right? Captain America pick up Thor's hammer and then fight Superman.
Yeah. I mean, Thor's hammer is magic, so that would help right there.
Yeah. Plus, Captain America knows how to actually fight.
Yeah.
Whereas Superman doesn't seem to. I mean, one of my favorite things in a show ever is watching Batman, tune up super. Like, I would love to see somebody just turn Batman into a Kryptonian and then just, have him fight, because Batman, there's no way he would lose.
Yeah.
He's like had like life or death fights all the time. I mean, Batman is so psycho, he would hold a kryptonite thing and fuck himself up with it to kill Superman or to fuck him up.
Yeah.
Because that's who he is. Like, he'll totally. Well, that's why everybody likes Batman. I don't think anybody really thinks about it like that, but that's what he'll like, sacrifice everything to win.
Yeah.
And I think Captain America is a lot like that.
Well, and it's more realistic when you think of, at least in the DC stuff, of Batman like doing that, because there are so many other super power people. When they do something that might be sacrificial to a normal human, they'll usually get out of it. They may be fucked up. They may, something may happen, but if Batman dies, he's probably dead unless somebody throws him in the fucking Lazarus pit. Which is not without side effects.
Yeah. So, you get Psycho Batman out at that point. I mean, one of my favorite comics, there's like a Batman Superman comic where some magic person gives Batman all of Superman's powers and takes Superman's away. Well, Batman cleans up the entire planet in, like, I don't know, a couple weeks or a month.
Yeah.
And without even getting like too like over policing or any of that about it. And Superman just gives up. He's like, well, I can't just fly around and just beat people up. I have to worry about dying.
Well, it's kind of funny because, like, if you look at like Red Sun, when Superman finally starts dealing with problems, it ends up becoming, well, granted that's like a communist thing. Let's go with what's the video game? The fucking Injustice.
League,
go with that. That's more along those lines. If Batman finally deciding to deal with everything, or not Batman, but Superman finally trying to deal with everything, and it becomes a
Yeah.
police state than that, where like you said, when Batman does it, it's not that kind of world,
No,
right? So
he doesn't police state it. I mean, I would say it's definitely a surveillance state.
yeah,
So if you're gonna do something that's Batman's main thing is he doesn't like Superman will go and get people over stuff where there's no victim. Batman I think waits for there to be a real victim.
yeah,
So it's not like, oh my God, you're grazing your cattle on government land or something. I'm gonna come and beat the shit out of you. It's more like you just shot that guy. You're getting dealt with, or well, stuff like you're robbing somebody, classic like victim crime where there's like a real victim. Whereas, like, I don't even think Batman gives that much of a shit about drugs and stuff. I think he
no,
gets
yeah.
the dealers, but I don't think he screws with people for having drugs or any of that. I mean, I think Batman's about loaded probably about half of the time, anyways, because you just would have
He
to
would have
be.
to be. He's like fucking like you see it in those in the Christian Bale movies where he's especially in fucking the third one where he's just so fucked up from being Batman because he's not super, and his fucking
No.
knees are just like all messed up, his arms are all fucked up and stuff. Just from everything he's done. So yeah, from I don't know
No,
how
I
long
mean,
Batman fights
he's
crime
so
for, but
fucking tough.
yeah,
Could you imagine Superman having to spend one day in Batman's body?
it wouldn't go
He'd kill
well.
himself. He'd be like, "This is awful.
Yeah.
What the hell is all these feelings I'm having?" Whereas Batman would wake up and be like, "I think I'm gonna go kill myself. My other body. I'm not losing this. This
Yeah.
is ridiculous. This guy gets to live like this." Then again, he's Batman, so he'd probably be like, "Well, it's the card I've been dealt. Whatever." I mean, it's like I think that stuff's cool. And then you got Alfred, and
Yeah.
Alfred, like I really feel like Alfred is like the guy like Bruce Wayne is like a horse, and he's got like all of his stuff he's doing as a carriage behind him, and Alfred's there to like, whoa, well, let's pull the reins back on this one a little bit, buddy. You're getting that's a little it's a little too much, bro. Just whoa, holy, and he's like, you're gonna do that, huh?
Yeah.
Let's not do that.
Well, I feel
And
like
I
the
think that's
movies haven't done Alfred justice really at all. Like
no.
just like reading some of the stuff, like the dude's a fucking badass himself. Like
Yeah.
in the Gotham TV show, I think they did a good job with him because he's just, I mean, Bruce Wayne's only a kid, so like fucking Alfred's out there beating the fuck out of people and taking out mob bosses and shit when he needs to. And then I think isn't there that show? What the fuck is it? Just called Pennyworth or something like that?
Yeah.
Where it's like his SAS days and shit like that. Like back when he was a fucking.
I
in
have
the
always
specials.
wanted to see a Batman where Batman's like 35 and you get somebody like Timothy Dalton to play Alfred.
Uh-huh.
And you have Batman get captured by somebody or trapped would be a good way to do it, where he's trapped and then Alfred has to get his way in there. And then you just get to see Alfred like save him. And you're like, whoa, Alfred's more badass than Batman.
Yeah.
And I think I always thought that'd be a really cool movie because then you could totally get it away from it just being, Batman.
Yeah.
So
I think like what was it? There's the comic book series it's like Gotham City something, and it basically it just follows, it doesn't follow Batman, it follows the detectives and stuff in Gotham. So
yeah,
like it's the aftermath of either Batman coming out or any of the other supervillains and stuff. So these like fucking detectives are trying to deal with that, plus dealing with dirty cops and other stuff like that. I want to say Commissioner Gordon shows up quite a few times in the thing. What the fuck are the two they're like the internal affairs people, a couple of people that
I
were
don't
like,
know them. There's
yeah.
Bullock, who is, I don't even know if he's actually a dirty cop.
I think I want to say he is, but he's also not like some of the other ones. Like he'll take a bribe, but if I think if he sees, at least in the Gotham TV show, he'll take a bribe, but he'll also defend somebody that needs defending. He's not going to let somebody, beat the fuck out of a kid or
Yeah,
rape
the bribes
somebody and
only
stuff
go
like
so
that.
far type
Yeah,
of a thing.
yeah,
Where it's like, well, this other gangster attacked me and I shot him. Can we cover this up? And he's like, yeah, okay.
yeah,
Where it's like, yeah, I beat the shit out of my wife. No, that's not gonna.
Yeah.
Yeah, give me the money. Okay, I'm throwing you in the can for beating the shit out of your wife. Thanks for the donation.
Definitely. So,
Which is, that's good. That's
I don't know if
I mean,
that's how he
there's-
is in the comic books or anything like that, but at least in that Gotham TV show, that's kind of how he is. He's,
yeah.
he knows how to play the game in Gotham. So
They
to
must
keep
have
himself from
added
getting
some
shot and
people
stuff.
that Batman deals with, because that's the only couple of cops that I can even remember that even talks to.
I don't think these are
know?
guys that he talks to. Like, I honestly think these are people that are just in.
They're kind of new.
Yeah, they're people that are in
Okay.
in Gotham PD, but they don't deal with Batman directly. They deal with like other shit. And I want to say they're like internal affairs people or something like that. I remember somebody like that. I don't remember what the fuck their names was or anything like that. So, I don't know. It's a pretty decent comic book for not being about these fucking superpowered people or Batman or whatever. It's just kind of like, oh fuck, there's you see something like a Joker card and like, ah, fuck, we got to deal with this again. That kind of shit. Just like normal humans living in a world of superpowered fucks. Like, you're just like, why the fuck would you stay here? Wouldn't you move out
like
of
The
Gotham at some
Boys,
point? Yeah.
It's like, because The Boys, I feel like, would represent a lot more random superpowered people. That's a lot better representation of what they'd be like
Yeah.
than you see, where they pretend like, I mean, that's basically Instagram or Facebook. Everybody pretends they're having a great time, but then like behind closed doors, they're like yelling and screaming all the time, and
Yeah.
just
Very
stupid
dysfunctional.
stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
Whereas you get the superheroes, and it's like, God knows what they'd be up to,
So one of the things I like about this movie is the crossovers with some of the television shows. So they did a whole, I think we got 2 seasons of Agent Peggy Carter, and that's fucking awesome. Which pulls in Haley Atwell, she plays Peggy in this, as well as Dominic. Fuck, I don't remember his last name. The guy who plays Howard Stark. So they both show up. Dominic Cooper. They both show up in the new in the Peggy Carter show, and some of those characters have a crossover into the new Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. season, as well as Jarvis, which is Howard's butler, and he shows up in Endgame. Endgame. Yeah, I think it was Endgame.
Weird.
Where he's in the past where Tony is going to get the PEM particles from the base and meets his dad.
Yeah.
And then the butler that's standing next to the car, that's Jarvis.
Zevo guy, the guy in like the Captain America, or what the hell's the one of the Schmidt's underling? Is he the bad guy in like the Civil War or the Winter Soldier?
So Zola, he is a computer in Winter Soldier. Like he's downloaded his consciousness into a computer in Winter Soldier, and that's where he is. Where in the comic books, he's actually a robot dude with the same kind of like TV screen face in the comic books, and he does a lot more than what he does in the movies and stuff. But I think they kind of do all they really need to with his character in the 2 movies that he's in. And it's kind of, fine to just be done with him. But yeah, he definitely shows up in a lot more. I want to say he's part of one of the like Illuminati or something like that, where it's a bunch of there's a bunch of people together, kind of conspiring and shit in the thing.
Well, that's kind of nuts. I mean, I didn't know that. I haven't even seen that guy before.
Yeah.
There's like, I'm just kind of. Marvel was one of those things I didn't have a lot of access to. We had a lot more DC comics
Yeah.
than Marvel, so I'm a lot more familiar with DC stuff than Marvel. And they definitely have a lot more weird villains. Like you look at whoever MODOK's guy is, like what the hell is that thing? And then
yeah.
then you got like the Abominations, pretty freaky.
Yeah.
And I mean, shoot, pretty much all of Doctor Strange's villains.
Yeah.
Just like, what the hell? What the hell? Who the hell is like? What kind of drugs are they doing when they're coming up with this?
I've been waiting for MODOK to show up in the fucking Deadpool stuff because I feel like MODOK fits in with that weird ass Deadpool shit.
Definitely.
Like I feel like if he showed up in anything else, it would be weird. Like the fact that they did Juggernaut the way he is in any of the animated stuff.
He was
and in the
so
comic
much
books.
better.
Yeah. And
that, I was like, that's what Juggernaut's supposed to be like.
Yeah, so seeing somebody like that,
Finally.
that's obviously unrealistic for the size of a human being and all that stuff. But if you threw him into any other stuff, people are like, what the fuck, Unless you're fighting him against like the Hulk, and then it makes sense, But you don't have to explain how he's that big or whatever. Just fucking he's there. He's a huge motherfucker. That's all you need.
Yeah, it's pretty much like everybody.
Yeah. MODOK would be really fucking hard to throw into anything that wasn't Deadpool. Because he's just fucking weird. Like, I wouldn't mind MODOK showing up with, like, Mr. Sinister. Because Mr. Sinister's, like, a fucking geneticist and all that stuff and a cloner. So, he could be a creation of Mr. Sinister in the TV, in the movies and stuff. So, I don't even know if we're going to get another fucking Deadpool movie, though.
I don't know if we're going to get another Marvel movie. I mean... But with the current climate right now, it's like nobody can do anything. So how the hell are they? I mean, wouldn't that be funny to get a filmed from home? Just goofy.
Everything's over Zoom.
Yeah. A Zoom movie. And you're like,
oh, man.
Oh, God. Or they just show you the pitch meeting.
Yeah.
And it's like, wow, all of those people are on cocaine. Wow. They're getting cocaine.
They were supposed to start filming the... Falcon Winter Soldier TV show again. I don't know. It's gonna be hard though. Like I don't know what they're gonna do because whatever hasn't been filmed already, how are they gonna get together and do all that shit? And then who's gonna watch it? Like where are they gonna display it? Are they gonna show it in theaters or are they gonna fucking show it on Disney Plus? We've already got like Black Widow movie that's been pushed. We've got the Wonder Woman movie pushed. All these big ones that they're like, we can't do a digital release on these. We spent too much fucking money on these, so. But there's got to be a point where they're just like, well, fuck, we got to show something, so we got to do it, So.
That's where the Deadpool movie comes in because that's not that much money, and I feel like a lot of those people would almost do it for free.
Yeah.
Well,
I guess there was a pitch that Deadpool or that Ryan Reynolds put out there to introduce the new stuff to the MCU. Basically, there's a comic series called Deadpool Kills the Marvel Universe, and they wanted Ryan was like, let's do Deadpool Kills the Fox MCU or whatever, So basically, he kills off Fantastic Four and X-Men and stuff like that, and then they're rebirthed into the new stuff. So
that's a good idea.
Yeah, but they
I would love to see that.
Yeah, I thought it would be pretty good.
Yeah, it'd be even better if they had the Fantastic Four that had the Jessica Alba, Chris Evans one.
Yeah,
because then he could look at Chris Evans and be like, I thought you were Captain America.
Yeah.
What? No,
oh, man.
I'm the Human Torch.
Well, and I wonder if you would do all of the versions too. Like if you would take out, the Jessica Alba one as well as the other one. I can't remember. Kate Mara one. And then the X-Men. Is he going to take out the fucking McAvoy ones and the Patrick Stewart ones?
That'd be great, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
You see him killing Magneto and then old Magneto.
Yeah. I just don't feel like any of the older people are gonna do any more. I don't think we're gonna
No.
see those guys come back for anything. I want to say Patrick Stewart is done after Logan. I don't think we're gonna. Well, okay, so I think Hugh Jackman may come back just because him and Ryan Reynolds are buddies.
Yeah.
But that would be the only way, like just because they're friends. But I don't see anybody else coming back. I don't see Famke Jensen coming back, or Jansen or whatever, and fucking Ian McClellan. Patrick Stewart's not doing that. Fucking James Marsden isn't showing up, although he's dead already. So
that's kind of rough.
Yeah,
that's so weird to think. We've been having those kind of movies for like 30 years now.
Yeah.
About. So
when we get a couple of good ones, and we get mediocre ones.
Well, it turns out it's hard to make a movie. You know, that's compelling. I mean, there's a lot of tropes of stories that they could copy that make good movies, but then you add like other things into them that are not genuine, and people see through that stuff and they don't want to watch that stuff. They're like, this is not what I signed up for.
Well, I think they go back to the same thing over and over. Like it's always we're gonna fight Magneto in one of these movies, and then after that, eventually we're gonna go Dark Phoenix, and it's like, stop going Dark Phoenix, because it never works. Nobody likes it. It wasn't very good in the comics or in the fucking TV show. Just stop it.
The only thing that was good about the comics was them fighting with the Shi'ar and I think that's the name of them.
Yeah, the alien.
Yeah, and then having like gladiators show up and stuff.
Yeah.
Here's an idea: have the X-Men versus Sentry.
Yeah.
Make a Sentry movie where you see this like super like you see him being the Void, and then minutes later see him being Sentry, and you're like, wait a second, isn't that the same dude? That'd be nuts, because you'd be like, oh my god, it's the same guy. He doesn't know. You could make the what do you call it? The Fight Club of superhero movies. That's why they should have. Oh my god, they should have Brad Pitt and Edward Norton be Edward Norton be the Void and Brad Pitt be the Sentry.
That'd be pretty good.
Yeah, because the whole time you'd be like, wait a second, are they gonna Fight Club this? No, they can't do that. It'd be cool if they did it well.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's a ton of stuff they could have. There's like the X-Men have a bazillion villains that it's
tons.
like Mr. Sinister. Mr. Sinister's like the Hannibal Lecter, inside of the MCU.
Yeah.
He's like a sophisticated, just like total piece of crap.
Just a fucking psycho,
Yeah. So it'd be nice to have him have more of a story.
Yeah.
And see what he's all about. Because I think he's one of the least explored people as far as I could tell.
Yeah, he doesn't show up in a whole lot of stuff. He's in a couple of the animated series stuff. So,
does he even have a backstory that anybody even knows about?
Not as like clear as other stuff. I mean, they have shown stuff in Deadpool that has been him or associated with him, like the Exeter stuff. That's his fucking real last name or whatever. I want to say the doctor that captures what the fuck's his name, the bald guy in Logan, the one that can sniff out mutants.
Caliban.
I want to say he is also. I want to say that's Mr. Sinister before his change.
Wow.
And all that stuff. Like he because he's in on this fucking cloning and shit like that. He clones Wolverine, in the thing. So,
well, it's like, what are his powers? What's he like? Like, it'd be nice because, like, a lot of people like the Hannibal movies because he's like a sophisticated crazy person.
Yeah.
And you could have him be a sophisticated crazy person comic book villain.
Well, I think like throwing him in with the Deadpool thing, because they've already shown like, okay, how does Wade Wilson get his powers from this weird serum that they've got? Fucking Mr. Sinister could have come up with that. In the next one, they've got the weird schools with the mutants in there. Mr. Sinister could be behind that, trying to train and like get these mutants to show their real potential, and he'll take the ones that he wants from the schools, and then just the rest of them can fuck off kind of thing, because he's gathering these people with powers and stuff. So just that kind of thing where he could be building a fucking army of superpowered people and cloning them and shit like that, and maybe he wants Deadpool's ability because it's so fucking, the healing factor is ridiculous, so he tries to take that and tries to clone him and stuff like that. So but obviously the fact that Deadpool is fucking insane isn't going to help anything. And I mean, if you want to throw his girlfriend back in there, she in the comic books has powers, but we don't see her have powers anywhere in this thing. So he could capture her and manipulate her and make her into a bad guy and give her powers too. So
yeah, well, I feel like they ought to do some kind of a Captain America tie-in. With
I don't think we're gonna
Deadpool.
get it again though, because I think Chris Evans is
No.
done. Although he has said he misses it, so maybe we'll see a cameo or something like that.
I mean, it's too bad because like if there ever was a guy who is, because he's actually a pretty good representation of Captain America.
Yeah,
I can't think of anybody who'd do it better than he did it. And like even as just a human being outside of it, seems like a pretty solid person.
yeah,
Like him and Chris Pratt go and do all kinds of sick kids stuff where they go and visit kids in the hospital, and it's like, wow, that's awesome.
yeah.
Because you probably don't see like Robert Downey Jr. in there that much.
I would imagine.
But then
yeah.
again, you never know. But I would be willing to say probably not. And I mean, like one thing I've always wanted to see is like Keanu Reeves end up in the MCU somewhere. I don't know. I think a good X-Men's thing, like this comic book series that was really good, but the one on the animated wasn't so good, was the where Apocalypse kills, or anyways, Professor X dies,
Yeah,
and then you have just like a total reworking of everybody. And I always thought that'd make for a good movie, like a good couple movies, where you have like a slight, like actually just dive right into what's going on, and you're just like, what the heck? Why is Sabretooth fighting alongside Magneto? And everybody else who's on the team. What the heck?
yeah,
Why is everything all torn up? Because Apocalypse isn't really even the people they fight the most. It's like breaking the people out of the camps, because they have humans in like death camps and stuff. And anyways, it's just because then there's some villains who are in that aren't in the main MCU that are different. I can't remember who they are. There's like Holocaust is one, and I think, what the heck is his name? The guy who could clone himself, who's dead. I think he's a bad guy, and he's a real pain in the ass to deal with for them in the comic. So, anyways, I just like the comic a lot.
yeah.
His name's Jamie something. I can't remember his last name. He's like, he can clone himself indefinitely, though.
Jamie Madrox.
Yeah, I think that's it. And I don't remember. Anyways,
Yeah,
it's just neat because you see some different, like Beast is a bad guy.
yeah. There's
He's like
there's a whole thing with him in like alternate dimension where Beast is like a fucking oh man, what was Hitler's main doctor dude's name? The guy who was
Goebbels.
Yeah, he's like that, where he's just fucking experimenting on people and mutants and stuff like that. He's just a fucking real sicko in some of the alternate dimension stuff. So
It's almost too bad somebody couldn't go and get all that data that he collected and then use it,
yeah,
for good.
yeah.
Seems like kind of a waste.
Oh, you're talking about Xavier dying. Eventually, in the comic books, Red Skull actually gets a hold of Xavier's brain and ends up becoming
No way.
telepathic. Yeah,
Oh, that's super scary.
yeah. I don't think it's as
He's like,
powerful as Xavier's ability, but yeah, he ends up somehow getting a hold of it, and like Xavier's inside of his brain and stuff. So maybe that's why he's not as powerful. He's also, fighting back. Xavier and him are kind of battling in the mind also. But yeah, there's a whole thing like that. So
well, that's a real testament to his willpower to be dealing with that guy and not just Cave.
yeah,
Holy shit. That's really scary. Like that guy, like, could you imagine you're Xavier, like who stands up against you? And then Red Skull's like, I can do it.
yeah.
It's like, whoa, that's a testament to that guy's mental strength. Holy crapola.
Oh,
Be kind of cool. Maybe they could have one where Xavier just turns evil and starts like brainwashing people.
Yeah.
Although he's way too powerful for that. I don't know. There's a lot of stuff they could do with the X-Men that they should do. That's just, there's a lot of storylines. I can't think of any, of course, off the top of my head, but they need to do that. Not just, oh, this is how the X-Men got started. Okay, here's the one where Jean Grey gets really powerful that nobody wants to watch because it's confusing and they don't do a good job with, explaining the whole Phoenix powers and stuff.
Yeah.
I
think we'd have to have like a whole outside, like a fucking Guardians of the Galaxy style movie where they encounter somebody with Phoenix powers and then loop that into it, into the X-Men stuff. At least then there's some backstory on that, because that's one of the things we need a backstory on, because nobody fucking knows what the fuck's going on with it. Where we don't need to see where all these kids come from and all that stuff. Just do like they did with the new Spider-Man movie, and let them just kind of go without a origin story.
I gotta say, I would love to see a Quicksilver movie
with Evan Peters as Quicksilver.
Yes, with the same filming style that they did X-Men Apocalypse. I haven't seen Dark Phoenix yet. I don't even know if he's in it. Where they have that kind of stuff go on, where he's running real fast and he's pulling people out of explosions, and stuff like that. I think that would be really cool. They could like since he's kind of an adolescent, I think it'd be fun to have like a woman who flirts with him and kind of boogers up his powers because he can't concentrate. To go like where he just runs into shit. He just gets clumsy.
Yeah.
Because that would make for some pretty funny, pratfalls and stuff.
Let's have him come across to Scarlet Witch, and then he's like, "Hey, how you doing?" And then realize, "Oh wait, this is like my sister from an alternate dimension." Whoops, that's weird.
Yeah, that'd be a little bit too Star Wars for anybody's. Everybody'd be like, all the nerds. No, that's your sister. Oh God, you idiot! Whereas in Star Wars, like that was brand new. Nobody knew.
Well, he's far younger than she is, though, too, in any of this stuff. So it wouldn't.
Who's their mom?
Some lady, I think. I don't think it's anybody of any importance. So.
Because you could do like Mystique, where it's
but Mystique's already she's what's his name's mom, Nightcrawler.
No, not being mom, but like flirting with him or whatever.
Oh yeah.
And then he realizes that, oh my God, that's my dad's squeeze.
Yeah.
Oh, gross. Or according to Pornhub, really hot.
God damn it.
I know. But there's like I don't know. I think that they Marvel did a lot better job taking risks than DC did.
Yeah.
I mean, you want to talk about DC has like a bazillion superheroes that would be like Blue Beetle's an interesting character. Build on him a little bit. You could do Booster Gold. He's like a guy from the future who goes back in time to con people to think he's a good guy. You want to talk about like the perfect, like Chris Pratt vehicle for a movie,
Yeah.
Because that's the kind of guy he is, where he's like, and then he tries to do good, but he's just kind of a screw up, So I don't know.
Supposedly her name is Magda Eisenhart, which her and Magneto were married at some point. But it's also I'd have to read some more shit. But apparently, she may not actually be their mother. So, but it is somebody that
Weird.
Magneto was married to.
So Magneto's just stepping out.
Yeah, I think so. She's probably a human, I think, and you know how he is with humans, so.
So he probably thought it was his duty to bang a mutant lady. You know, I mean, I don't know. You know, what about X-Force?
That was
They
what
never
we
have
saw
them.
in. Well, yeah, that was in Deadpool. That was the team
Yeah,
that
but not
he
the
creates.
one with Warpath and Cable and Shatterstar. I think that's his name.
Well, I mean,
Shatterstar died in he was definitely in the Deadpool one, but
yeah,
Warpath
he dies
wasn't.
in the thing.
Yeah. What's funny though is Shatterstar and what's the other one's name? Longshot. Both are supposed to be like extra lucky as part of their thing, where they have kind of extra luck.
Yeah.
So it's just weird that he just goes right into what did he die from? Prop or something?
He fell into a helicopter propeller.
Yeah. That was pretty funny. I love how he's like joshing the one lady about being lucky, and then
Yeah.
she actually is just like so
That's not,
lucky.
that's not cinematic at all. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah. Holy shit. Stuff just works out for her, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Apparently Warpath was in Days of Future Past.
Really?
Yeah. I have to watch that movie again. It's been a long time. We've definitely watched it for the podcast, I think.
Yeah, I think that was an alright movie.
Yeah, I think that one and because it was First Class and Days of Future Past, and I think those ones were pretty good. And then I didn't really like X-Men Apocalypse, and I have not watched Dark Phoenix yet.
I just like the two scenes in Apocalypse where Quicksilver's running around.
Yeah.
Because like if I had if I could pick a superpower, it'd be to be that quick. That'd be awesome. Because then you'd have good reflexes. You'd be, super strong. And you could just like time is not that big of a deal anymore.
Yeah. And at least as Quicksilver, you don't have to deal with the fucking the speed force like fucking Flash does.
Yeah.
You may not be as fast as the Flash, but hey, you don't have to deal with that extra shit, that weird bureaucracy of the Speed Force and all this weird balancing act and shit that they have to deal with. So.
I mean, I don't want to be fast enough where I could go back in time either.
Yeah.
That's just a recipe.
You just want to be fast enough to slow time down enough for yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I just want it to be where I could, like the only thing that I always wonder, okay, so if time slows down that much where he's running, could you imagine running like all the way from like, from Chico to say LA? And it might take him, 20 minutes, like he just shows up instantaneously, but you got to run the whole way down there.
Yeah.
And for you, it's probably going to take the length of time that it would take to run that.
The Quicksilver can run 9,200 miles per hour.
What I'm saying is, like, if time slows down, like it does, then you're perceiving time at the rate of a normal person running.
Yeah.
Where you're running, so let's just say that, like I was saying, you run from wherever to LA, it'd be like, I think that would get really tedious. Where like you see Flash, who's like in an instant and he's like trying all these things. But if you ever went like 001, 002, 003, 004, all of that,
yeah.
I mean, I give up at like 0012, and I'm like, it's never gonna happen. I don't even know what. Like at this point, I don't even start it. So then again, if somebody I cared for was gonna die, I'd probably go get a knife, cut them out of whatever, and drag them away, and be like, don't need to do any of that other stuff. There's no way going zero, all the way to 9,000 is going to be faster than just scooting over to the sporting goods store and grabbing a knife. Or here's an idea: carry a knife and a gun. Like, why not? I mean, what if you need to frame somebody?
Yeah.
Like, you just put the gun in their hand, so it's on the camera that they have the gun in their hand, and then they have the fingerprints on there. Shoot yourself in the foot. You're going to heal up from it really fast anyways. Be like, yeah, this piece of shit shot me in the foot. Pressing charges. Well, how come your foot's healed up so fast? Wolverine peed on it.
Damn it. All right. What rating did you give this?
I'd say this is definitely a 4.5 star movie. I really enjoy this movie. I think it's probably one of the better origin movies of any comic book, thing ever, because it's only got like a little teeny tiny bit of the stuff that everybody. Plus, he just doesn't have like a ran through a million times origin story like Batman.
Yeah. What would kill you?
Like, my thing is, like, who even, like, anybody who doesn't know Batman's origin story, you don't need to tell it to them again.
Well, it's the same thing as Spider-Man. Like, if you don't know that
Or
origin story,
Superman,
or Superman, these people, you don't need you don't need them anymore. We've seen them so many fucking times. We know where they came from. Batman's parents get killed. Fucking Spider-Man's uncle gets killed. Superman's planet gets killed. So it's just like we don't need that anymore. And I'm glad, at least with the Spider-Man stuff, they've stepped away from it for that. So hopefully they can continue that.
What a good job casting Tom Holland.
Yeah,
like, just incredible work.
I saw
that guy right there should be the only person casting anybody for any superhero movies, because they nailed it with that guy.
Yeah, especially if they've continued. If they've been the people that have been casting some of the other people in the Spider-Man stuff, I think fucking Gyllenhaal as Mysterio is a really good job. I think Keaton as Falcon.
Oh, he was
not Falcon.
Great
Vulture was really good, especially since we haven't seen Vulture in anything before. So any live actions, I think it was really good.
Did you see the thing where apparently during filming the fighting scenes, Michael Keaton would whisper in Tom Holland's ears, "I'm Batman," and it would throw him off.
That would be that sounds about right. There was something where he went and did a speech for some school or something like that, and he's like, "I got one more thing, I'm Batman," and then ran off the stage.
And I really want to see him, because there's been some talk of him doing the Dark Knight Returns.
Yeah,
where they make that live action.
Wasn't there also talk that he was going to be doing the Flashpoint Batman also, so
where he plays Thomas Wayne?
Yeah,
that would be great too. So there's a lot of stuff that we could get. I mean, honestly, I kind of like some of the animated stuff, because they can do more
more ridiculous things and stuff that would look really weird in a live action movie.
It's like the Superman Red Sun is pretty good, at least from what I've seen, and the Dark Knight Returns, the two movies, that is great. They're both awesome, and you get to see Batman be old as shit, but like still in pretty good shape. Yeah, just dealing with stuff again, So
I think we talked about this when we talked about Spider-Man, but they also have a little bit of a nod to the Batman thing when Keaton flies in front of the moon and you see the wings and stuff. It's very Batman-esque with that thing.
I just want to really hope that the guy editing it, either Keaton went in there and said, "Hey, can you do this where we go in front of the moon like in Batman?" Or the editor, like whoever set that up, was like, "Hey, Keaton, get in here, look what I did." And he's like, "Nice." Because you'd have to do that.
What did Kelly give this movie?
Hey Kelly, what'd you give this movie? 3.5 stars. Okay.
And I also gave this movie 4.5 stars. Next week's movie, we're gonna watch. We're gonna continue our Lord of the Rings thing that we started before this. We're gonna watch Lord of the Rings: The Two Towers.
All right.
Join us for that. Let me put
We
this
get to
over
see
here.
those stupid tree
It's
turds.
Eric's favorite movie. Because all the trees come to life and save the world. He loves trees.
I just want to
It's
be
his
like
favorite.
the gasoline man and just go kill all of them.
Thanks for watching, everybody. Make sure you guys like us on Facebook, facebook.com/HeroicAdventure Productions. Damn it. Twitch.tv/HeroicAdventure and twitch.tv/TurgorPlays. Sorry, I've got like super dry mouth right now. You can also
You're just
follow
trying
us.
to cover up that you got the disease.
Yeah. Follow us on Twitter at HEP Gaming. Follow me on Twitter at Turkadur. Follow Eric on Twitter at
Quick and severe.
Kelly on Twitter at Sugar Snuggles. Ricky on Twitter at Furry Twitterballs. And Jason on Twitter at Unbelievable1. Email us at Steve. God damn it. No, it's making me want to like gag.
Oh.
Email us at Steve, Eric,
That's-
Kelly, Jason, and Ricky at hepgaming.com. Each one of those names individually at hepgaming.com. Find out the stuff I've been saying in the description on youtube.com/HeroicAdventure Productions and twitch.tv/TurkadurPlays. That's going to be it. Thanks for watching, everybody, and we'll talk to you guys next week.